Today we're going to be having a chat with a gentleman called Javed Rahman who owns 22 motorcycles in Delhi NCR. I seem to have depth of coverage in a single brand. He's got the width of coverage across brands. Some of his motorcycles are eye candy. Starting with this beautiful Norton from 1941, the NSU from 1904, an Indian which is from the pre-war times, and of course he's got the Bizas, he's got the Triumphs, he's got them all. Hi Javed, how are you?
I'm good, Shanks. How are you?
Welcome to another episode of Tripping with Shanks.
And thank you very much for just inviting me for this show and all.
Javed, I've seen you riding a beautiful Triumph Bonneville.
Okay.
You are a nouveau rider.
Yeah.
You ride some of the and you ride so well. What really prompted you to get into vintage motorcycles the way you are into them right now?
So, Shanks, above all, so like I'm into bikes and all those. Every guy has his own passions and all those. But yeah, I'm a new guy. I love riding new bikes with new engine and all those. But coming to the vintage bikes and all those all were collected by my elder brother.
Oh, your elder brother collected all these bikes?
Yeah, he was a very passionate about vintage and classics bikes and all cars, etc. He's more into a vintage guy.
Okay, so when did he start collecting his first bike?
I think after he got his first car in 1999, he got his first bike in 2001 or 2002 somewhere around, and that is Triumph Twin 500cc 1951 or 52 model.
How many vehicles did he finally end up collecting?
I can't say how much approximately, but something around 22 or 23 bikes, as 8 or 9 cars.
Wow, amazing. So you are continuing the legacy for him right now?
Yeah,
or
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my level best.
I heard there was an accident which happened with him and he was on a ride on your Triumph Bonneville, right?
Yeah, and he passed over. He met with a heart attack and he passed away over there.
And you are continuing the legacy right now.
Yeah.
Commendable. So you've been looking after all the motorcycles that he actually collected.
Yeah, as I said, I'm trying my level best because I'm a new buyer. I don't understand these old things. I'm not into this. I don't understand those engines of above time. What I say about him is he was a mechanic himself. He understands those machines and all those. He used to figure it out what's happening.
So he basically was a hands-on guy.
Yeah,
So he used to sit and work on the motorcycles himself.
Yeah.
So Javed, do you tour on any of these motorcycles? Have you taken them for a long ride? Have they felt the asphalt below them, the tar below them? Have they gone long distances?
Yes, I did. I did twice or thrice. Once I put my hands down on that 51, 52 Triumph, and that's where I got to know about the Triumphs. These are the bikes which are known by Triumphs. So above all, that was my first very experience with 500cc Triumph Twin, and I immensely fell in love with that bike. That was
What differences do you see between the old Triumph and the new Bonneville that you've got?
I think they are the same. Just because of the engine, they are more modern now. But I think the thump, the character is still there with the Triumph. With the Bonneville range, is still there. I think the legacy, they continued very well. They forwarded very well with those engines and all those, and I love my Triumph. Whether it's new or the old one, Triumph is all classic.
Actually, you know what? I've spoken to a lot of guys on Triumphs specifically. A lot of the guys actually tell me that the old 500cc Triumphs will, trump new 880cc Triumph right now. They are that fast. They go to 150 kmph, 160 kmph, the T100s, and they're very easy. They're very relaxed on the hand. Is that true?
Yeah, I think that's the most positive point with the Triumphs and all that, because you can ride it all day long without getting tired. Because the engine and the torque is so smooth, you can ride it all day without any discomfort.
Very nice. So I see over here you've got a brilliant example of an Indian Scout. This Indian Scout, I believe, is from 1937, right?
Yeah, this one is actually not 1937, 1942 model it is.
Yeah, the Scout was actually made famous by Burt Munro on the Bonneville Salt Flats.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about your Indian Scout? What are the things that really? What are the quirks of this motorcycle? What are the great things about this motorcycle, for example?
No, coming to the Indian, what I will tell you about Indian is that coming to the vintage, in vintage line, Indian is very difficult to find. Indian motorcycles, yeah. You can you can find plenty of BSA, Triumph, or other Norton, each and whatever there are. But finding Indian is very difficult, and the people who have it, they don't sell it. Because this one is basically a collectible model. You can keep it for a long time. And I will tell you why this is unique, because of its the feature. This is not like a normal ordinary bike. So the very unique thing about this bike is this one is a 750cc V-twin engine, and above all, forget about the engine. The accelerator is on the left hand side.
On the left side, okay.
Yeah. On the left hand side, the gear is on the hand.
All right.
The clutch is on the foot side.
On the left side, left leg.
Yeah, on the left leg.
Like a car, basically.
Yeah, like a car. Basically more like a car on a two-wheeler.
Wow, okay.
And you have this retired advanced position, so you can tune your bike. Whether you want to advance it or you want to retire advance it, you can do it by on your own hands.
Okay, so basically when you start it, you keep it on retard so that it's easier to start.
Yeah, it is.
But then you need more speed and you need an advanced timing, so you move the time. So it's an adjustable timing and on the fly.
Yeah.
You're telling me you can do this on the fly?
Yeah, you on the fly, and this is all manual. Suppose this feature was back there in 1942 by India, by this company.
Wow. आप ये गाड़ी बेच दो मेरे को.
No, I can't. मैं नहीं बेचने वाला, बिल्कुल भी नहीं.
It's a very, very unique piece actually.
It's a very unique piece actually.
And I really loved understanding the work, because I just realized Indian is an American motorcycle.
Yeah.
And they have the gears on their on their cars on the right side. So what they've basically done is they have replicated everything in the car onto the motorcycle.
Yeah.
The left leg clutch, the right hand gear, and because you can't use your right accelerator when you are changing gear, they've kept the accelerator on the left leg, on the left hand, sorry.
Yeah. And believe me, the very first time I sat on the bike, and when I came to know about the features and all those, that I have accelerators on that side, I came up from the bike and said, I can't ride it.
But so do you ride it now?
Yeah, just once.
Only once.
Because it's very difficult task.
It must be one of the most easiest vehicles to start, simply because your timing is adjustable.
Yeah, timing is adjustable. You can use one kick start.
Wow. So one thing I wanted to know from you is this vehicle a shaft drive, chain drive, or a belt drive?
This one is a chain drive actually.
Okay, very, very nice. One of the other motorcycles that I noticed that you have is the NSU.
Yeah, it's a Neckersulmer, very rare model, I must say. This is a 116-year-old 1904 model.
Wow. When did you acquire this motorcycle?
I think it was all acquired by my brother, but I think this one is more around 15 or 16 years back.
When it says GR23, which registration is that?
Gujarat.
Okay. Does it have gears, or is it a single gear motorcycle?
That's a single gear motorcycle.
So it's only accelerator basically on a side valve.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm sure you must have found it extremely difficult to find parts for that motorcycle.
Yeah, it's very difficult, because you may get the parts of this Triumph, BSA, Norton, all those. The parts are easily available on the international sites. But coming to this Neckersulmer, the NSU model, the company is not in existence right now. Although BSA and Triumph, BSA and Norton are not into production right now too, but Neckersulmer is like more oldest model. 116 years. If you go 116 years back, what will you manage? So it's very difficult and very rare to find the spare parts for this bike.
Quirks about that motorcycle? Does it have your accelerator on the left side, on the right side?
No. But the brakes are on the accelerator is on the left side. Yeah.
The accelerator is on the left side again, right?
It's a lever type accelerator, not the throttle type.
Oh, so you do?
Yeah, you have to pull the lever and your bike will run.
Oh, and the right side is the brake.
Yeah, right side is the brake.
So do you have a rear brake also for it?
No. Only front, I guess. Only rear brake, I guess.
Okay, so it's basically a very, very good adaptation of a cycle.
Yeah, it's a very good adaptation of a cycle. Yeah.
I think this is where the name came, right? From motorcycle.
Yeah. So basically, it's a cycle with a motor fitted into the segment.
I think that's how all motorcycles actually evolved.
Yeah.
Actually, they started in that form.
Yeah.
If you notice, even the stands, for example, they were all cycle stands.
They all
So and they've all evolved after that because of requirements of speed or stability
No.
to larger tires.
Check, if you will see, if you will remove the engine, now you will find a cycle over there standing with a tall handlebar.
Yes, I guess so. What can you tell me about the Norton? This is the 1941 side valve, right?
Yeah, this is a Norton's 41 side valve 16H model. 16H is basically stand for home for British.
Oh, okay. H stands for home.
Yeah. H
All right.
stands for home for British, and because they mainly produce these bikes for the world wars. During the World War times, they supplied. Norton is the, I think, main supplier for the World War motorcycle and all those. So
Yeah, I can notice there. And then imagine they had rigid frames at that time,
yeah,
and these rigid frames went
and they were
all over the war.
Norton was very successful in the army at that time. No. Coming to the 1935s and all those till 1950, there was like Norton was produced around 10,000 to 15,000 units for the army itself.
That's interesting. I didn't
Yeah,
know that
very
actually
interesting, very
15,000
interesting.
units is a large number
Yeah.
pre-war. Oh, I noticed that the Norton's got a steering damper. Very
Yeah.
nice, very interesting. It's actually, I'm imagining this motorcycle going on all kinds of, off-road trails that we call today, where we need ADVs.
Yeah.
And these vehicles did all that without a proper suspension, without a proper, just a steering damper.
So that's imagine technology at that time. They've given all things in one single bike. You don't need an ADV or like this
And
current
all-
situation.
On your own. You
Yeah,
can
on
handle
your
it,
own.
adjust your damper, make sure you get your suspension right.
And people did something very serious on this bike. Trails and all those. Think of the army time, man.
Yep, I get it
The-
completely.
The rough situation they used to drive on all, because
The 16H had only 3 gears, right? Or did it have 4?
yeah, 4 gear.
4 gears?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Very nice. I can see it's got a Springer seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. What are the other motorcycles apart from these 3? I see you also got a Yamaha there, a Yamaha RD.
Yeah, it's Yamaha RD350 there. Then there is a BSA A7.
That's a beautiful motorcycle again. The plunger
1950.
model, right?
Yeah, plunger model.
Oh, I see you got 2 of them.
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
Nice, very nice. Wow, I really love the Bizas. When did you acquire the Biza, by the way? Both the Bizas were acquired at the same time, or did they
No, like,
individually?
Individually, I think there must be a difference gap of 1 or 2 years.
Which one came first?
I think the golden one.
The gold one came first.
Yeah,
Very
the gold
nice.
one
That's
came
an
first.
A7 plunger model again, and this is also a plunger.
Yeah.
I can see there are still some parts required for the second A7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
must be
always
awaiting
need-
registration.
You always need some parts for something.
That's the life of a vintage
Yeah,
restorer,
that's life
actually.
of a vintage. It's like
Right.
a child, you have to keep feeding them.
Very nice. I understand you also have a Triumph bathtub model. Is that right?
Yeah, basically it's a bathtub model, but it don't have bathtub
Anymore.
Yeah.
By the way, did you know that the Americans really hated it because although it made cleanup of the motorcycle more easier, it made routine maintenance that much more difficult.
Maybe, but if I have to say, I maybe more agree with the American, because the previous owner of that bike, the bathtub model 1, the previous owner also removed that bathtub from his bike. And we got this in the situation where the bathtub wasn't there.
Arey, what a full sadness in everybody's life. I would have loved to see a nice, good bathtub
So-
Triumph actually.
On the previous owner parts, I guess he must be agree with the Americans.
So Javed,
Yeah.
you've continued your legacy of building all your brother's motorcycles. Do you have any plans of acquiring any new models for
No.
restoration or
No,
anything?
No.
You don't have any plans of acquiring
No,
anything?
because maintaining them itself is a task, If you go for a more, you need money for that, to purchase that model again, then you have to invest in your time and money in that model. I think I have pretty much enough to indulge my time and my money.
And you're still doing it actually. If I'm not
Yeah, still
mistaken,
I'm
it's
doing
been
it.
5 years now since your brother passed away.
Yeah.
It's taken you 5 years to even get to the same level of what you have done
I'm
right
not,
now.
Like I must say that I'm not even 3% of that. I'm not on that level. Forget about the level. I'm not 3%
All right.
of what my brother was.
All right. It was very nice chatting with you, Javed. Actually, I am very impressed because I'm myself a very big vintage collector.
Yeah, even I got to know about your Java collection.
And some of these motorcycles are like eye candy, especially the Indian the Bizas, the Norton, the NSU specifically. Oh, what a dreamboat from 1904. You know, they really brought me. I'm like a kid in a candy store right now. You know, I don't know what I want to ride. I just wish I could ride all of them and stay with them. I want to sleep with all of them. I don't want to take them out. I want to just make sure that they're all safe.
Yeah, hopefully you will get to ride it one day.
Hopefully I will. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you, Shanks.
Thank you. I really had a great time chatting with you on our.
Same here, Shanks. Thanks for coming and giving your time.
Yeah. So guys, today we got a fair idea of how vintage restorer looks at his motorcycles and to what lengths someone go to hold up a legacy which has been started by a family member. If you watched the video till now, you are a really big vintage enthusiast. And if you want more stuff like this, to get notified, like, share and subscribe to Happiness Per KM.